Hello, everyone. Welcome to Judah Rains. It is the mid afternoon, and I have done all that I could do for today now to be productive. And I am home and thankful to be home. Um, I always want to remember the things that I'm grateful for on the high side of the things that are tough. And we do live in a tough world, but the consistency of my gratefulness lies in my environment. And right now, I am appreciative of that environment. One, that I have a beautiful patio, small though it may be. It is something that I am taking care of. And so when I sit in my little sitting area, which looks right out to it, I use this as my study area and my meditation area. And so I am very appreciative of that and very grateful to have it for today, just for today. Of course, I still have my transportation, and I was able to conduct my business in a timely manner in my vehicle, which I am also grateful to have, and the mode to move around and to be able to be ambulatory in order to do so. So I'm grateful for that. I checked off a couple of things for the new job that I have, and as I understand, I am done now, and now I can do the remaining orientation, which is paid orientation, which is very important to me. So, because are in we are in need of the monies, and so my desire is to be productive while understanding the kingdom that we live in, or the world that we live in, is one that is wicked and is wicked producing, and it produces a lot of pain and sickness, and that the entities that once inhabited this realm and the spirit that is still remains of them here, now that they have been bound, but that spirit still remains because those that they have anointed, which are the elites of the world, they are the money brokers of the world, the powerful men of this world that who's losing power, if not have already lost it, but they're grasping out straws right now. How they are really pressing down on the average everyday man and woman and child, and what they used to call back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s the little guy, just your average person getting along, trying to get along in life. And so now it's just at a crescendo that even the people that they promised who were supreme, no matter if they were smart or not, they know that that contract is null and void. And so everyone is getting a little bit of the rain or the hardship. I don't want to say rain, but the hardship that comes along with devil doing. So so today, just setting boundaries and completing these tasks, I was able to do them in the morning, and then to uh, care for myself toward the afternoon, and just accepting I am where I am. And when that happened, as it stands right now, a lot of the worry that was starting to fester inside of my gut has been alleviated just for today. So I just want to come and express that in regards to what is going on in the world. The world is doing what the world has done, and the world is going by the wayside. And a new world, a new kingdom actually is already here. It is already unfolded. It is now the time for it manifesting. And of course, I know with the algorithm, but even with the algorithm, the very fact that people are noticing that things are different and that they are capitulating that there are um, what they call extraterrestrial, other people or other beings besides humans that are intelligent and are more powerful than us because we are imperfect. We're not in our perfect state, which is what we lost with the fall of man and mankind. It's going to be quite wonderful just to hear the true history and to know for sure what has happened in the past and how we truly came to be. Right now, we have fragments and we have our experience of the last days of this dominion of imperfection, this dominion of wickedness and devil doing. So that's all we know. We don't know anything else. And those that knew something else, um, it is my belief that some are in the invisible back here on earth, and others can transfigure themselves into their human form. And but we may or may not even know that we're even engaging them, to be quite honest. So I always kind of uh, more and more each day, I'm starting to uh, really remind myself and accept that I never know who I'm talking to, especially when I'm out and about. And I typically am very, very friendly, and somehow I draw people into conversations or whatnot. And so I always never know. Or people are drawn to me and they make small talk with me. That happens quite a bit. And so again, I never know if I'm entertaining angels. And I would say that for you, that you never know in your walk on a daily routine that you may encounter and entertain an angel in the most unlikely way. And it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out entertainment or visit. It could be simple as the way you greet someone. If you even say hello, or do you look away at them and frown, or do you look down, depending on what type of um, personage they transfigure themselves into be. How do you respond? And so, yeah, that came up to me. It came up for me today to say. And sometimes it comes up right when I'm talking. And so, of course, I believe that that is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit speaking, the motivating force, the active force, similar to gravity. We know that gravity is working even though we don't see it. We can feel the effects of gravity. And so that is what it is with angels, whether or not they are in the invisible or if they are in the visible or transfigured to the visible. And but they have not openly said, I am who I am. And that's what I will ask for right now, is that confirmation now begins to happen, that they actually begin to signal to those, especially those who make up the Lord's great army, and as well as really, really, really those that make up Christ's kingdom administration. If they haven't already, they may have. For those of you who have probably are already having um, ready-made, already self-appointed, I don't know if self-appointed is the right word, but appointed encounters. One of the things that I have been made aware of is that the encounter itself with angels is not one of frightful or fear, where you're like in what do you call it? A Nightmare on Elm Street or a Jason, number 45 series. It's not that kind of encounter. It's one where there is probably awe, maybe, or maybe not. Again, because we are so far down in perfection, the encounter may seem like it's on the regular. Like you wouldn't even know it, that you even said something like good morning or hello, or you were helping someone. You could have helped someone with their groceries and didn't realize you were entertaining an angel. You could have helped someone get into their car. I don't know. I mean, you could have watch someone's child, seemingly child, or maybe you were at a party or something and had an encounter. But um, one thing we can be assured of is that if we're to trust the examples of people way back then, is that they were in awe, but they weren't frightened. Now, also understand, which I think a lot of us have not really contemplated, is that imperfection and versus perfection was in cycles. which means it cycled down like, think of it as a battery. And please forgive me if I may explain this before, but I'll explain it again. The way that imperfection worked on this planet was that those who originally came under that curse were still largely perfect. And the full effects of imperfection had not taken root, which is why so many of them could live so long a life because it took time. And with each cycle or with each generation, the reiteration of imperfection was strengthened until it came into our day. So we are 100% perfect, where you would have had someone during Adam and Eve's time, or even before then, when you had the male and female made in the original creation, that they were probably maybe at a 99% of imperfection, or a 95% imperfection. And then, you can go down the percentage until you get to negative, where we are. So we are we are the bottom rung of the bottom rung. We are at the bottom of the dungeon of sin. And because we have that added component that Satan had been ruling over us. Remember, during the time of man and during the time of Adam and Eve, Satan was not in a rulership position. If those of you who go back to the Bible, he was actually basically a worker. He was an employee there to do his part in the Garden of Eden, and particularly for what is possibly understood, the east of Eden, where Adam and Eve were, or maybe not. And that he was assigned to other things to do before he was given these worlds. So we are even under a different type of dimension because we have been under this powerful entity and his army's rule. So once that is all alleviated, then we can begin the work of restoration. And of course, at that time, we ourselves will receive a final test to ensure that we are ready to move on to the next cycle of existence. And so I got into that just to say that these are the fruits of the kingdom that we are at the precipice of grabbing hold of, but we cannot grab hold of it, and we will not grab hold of it with the powers that shouldn't be still in charge and calling the shots. So, and that is probably the last thing, the last, the last shoe to drop, is to have them completely removed, even for their own sakes. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if many of them that are up there, that high up, that are locked in, and whose names we don't know and faces we don't see on the regular, they're probably just exhausted of having to pull levers, because understand, they're now on their own. They're under their own esteem, and they are 110% imperfect. So they don't have nothing to grasp hold to. Plus, not even the technology or what they used to do is not working like it used to. And it's not carrying out the desired results like it used to. So they must be having a real manic, terrible time right now, which is why they're probably just doing all this outlandish stuff that we're seeing that makes no kind of sense when the answers are there, right? It's not like the answers to mitigate the problems of humanity aren't already in existence, because they are. And we've had many people end up going to the grave violently for prescribing the remedy, and the persons and the entities rebuffing that and rebuffing it using violence, unfortunately. But it's a mighty lesson for us to learn. But yeah, it is time now. And one of my prayers in earnest, especially as recently and going forward more certainly, have been for the manifestation of the kingdom and for the angels to show themselves and prove themselves. Not prove themselves like they have to prove something to us, no, but to illuminate themselves, and to get this show on the road. I think that there'll be more people that will be relieved. I don't know if necessarily happy. I think the people who will be happy will be those, one, the children of Israel, the true children of Israel, and those who were part of the Lord's great army. I think that they will be relieved, and the descendants of American slaves are going to be happy and relieved, and they're going to be celebrating. Now, that's going to be the initial reaction. I'm sure in the coming days and weeks. No, no, no. I'll back up. I'm sure probably within the first year, or by that first year's end of when New Jerusalem is completely set up and the doors are symbolically closed, and the kingdom administrators are doing what they need to do in order to reclaim the nation and to get them on the road back to what was taken from us, which was perfection. And that was the original creation, back to that, before the Most High would even think to judge us. By the way, the Most High is not that cruel, and the Most High is most certainly not psychotic, and way more forgiving than some of the people that have been saying all kinds of outlandish things about us. They, that taste of death is, in their speech, but I digress. But possibly once those mechanisms and those remedies are employed in New Jerusalem, and we've been going through it for a full 4 seasons, you might hear some grumbling. You might hear some grumbling, but even then, Black Americans, descendants of American slaves, are going to say, "Well, damn, this is far better than what we had to live under." So, and then the second year, the third year, probably off the third or fifth year, you'll probably have even more grumblings. You may even have some that say, "I just want out. I just want to go to the world," because of a lot of the practices that we were forced to swallow, a lot of the um, behaviors that we had no immunity to, but to onboard into our system and our souls, will have to be extricated and will have to be removed from us. And that is, for many, if not all of us, is going to be very uncomfortable. But as we move forward, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, we'll get stronger, we'll get better, we will press more into the kingdom, and press more into what the Most High originally intended us to be. But just know that every basic necessity will be provided to us in full. And what are the basics? Water, clean water, pristine water, water that some of the old heads, especially with the silent generation, and I would say even Generation X and Baby Boomer, remember that water had a very delicious taste. It would quench your thirst. I remember that as a child in the 80s, in the summers, going down to Stockton, and particularly, playing outside, and you would turn on the water hose, and ooh, you would put your lips up to the opening of that water hose and just drink it in. Y'all remember that? Do you remember when water had just a thirst quenching, delicious taste? It did not taste what it tastes like now, which is bleach and chemicals. See, we'll go back to that and then some. We are going to live in New Jerusalem, that the waters themselves would be in such a condition because of the technology and the know-how, and many of the inventors that never got a chance of this system, but will have a chance to dream new dreams and play them out, that the water will go back to when the Most High first moved upon the waters. And another thing that just came up for me is that when the Most High moved upon the waters, when you read in the Genesis, that it had to change the alchemy of the water, and it had to infuse it with something that would create life and would have life in it. Oh my goodness. And then that seeps into the soil, and we're drinking that, and then the vegetables come up with all that life producing and life giving attributes coming into us, and then the healing from the inside out, plus of all the things that we'll be doing as far as getting honest with ourselves and with each other, mending broken relationships and broken families. Oh my goodness. Plus, the food will be free. The water will be free. The housing will be free. You won't be packed up into these apartments like your little termites. That won't happen. But that you will be honored as a human being that needs your space and that you need some room to move around. You know what? It's going to be better than Wall Street, Black Wall Street. It's going to be 20, maybe even 50, 100 times better. The very air that we breathe is going to be filtered and cleaned. And we can imagine that when we have all these scented flowers that grow, that will perfume the very air that we breathe. And that would also heal us because there will be water vapors in there. Oh my goodness. What we have to look forward to is just going to be spectacular. And I most certainly can't wait to be able to experience. It can happen at any day, any day. And here's one last thing I'll say, and then I'll close it out. It says that the Lord's great army will press more and more because of dreaming new dreams and seeing the vision of what lies beyond the world that they are bringing to ruin. And it's not like it's not already ruined, but they're stopping it from continuing in its power. And so the Lord's great army, those men and women on both sides of the aisle, will be the first fruits to have the opportunity to heal in such a way that they will become emblems and signposts for the rest of man and mankind, especially when we start the resurrection program. And then we will begin to learn unequivocally that although death is an option for us, that we won't be immortal, but that it was not in the original plan. The original plan was for us to live long, 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 long life, not to suffer, to be born, suffer, and then be unalive. So, and it won't be such a far-fetched thing, for the curing of man's maladies can be found in the leaves and in the trees and in the vegetables, but not with the poison that they've been putting in our stuff. But I digress. So we have a lot to look forward to, and uh, I think that learning the truth about our planet, learning the truth about the stars, learning the truth about our sun, learning the truth about all of the solar system and our galaxy, and moving forward like that, literally living the Star Trek life, but put emphasis on that you'll be dealing with perfect human beings. And who knows how far reaching the war in heaven with Satan and the Most High God, the Elohim, how far reaching that battle and that war was. It could have been just contained here in our solar system. It could have just been contained here or not. It could have been, we don't know how much junk Satan was doing out there in the universe before it came to the point of him battling, right? And how many, I mean, we know that he corrupted other angels, right? And so who knows what they were doing out there? And I have a feeling, because we are the first ones. We're told that we're the first fruits. I have a feeling that we are going to take our show on the road, and that we will be, oh my goodness, that we are probably going to be charged as humanity to go to these other parts of the universe and reclaim and help rebuild what was torn down by Satan and the demons. And what an awesome, unbelievable charge and gift that we have been given, if that is to be so. What a goal to strive for. And not one of us will be left behind, or will be left without any charge or any uh, um, what do you call it? Not so much as destiny, but purpose. We won't be left without purpose. And what a grand thing that would be. I mean, understand, when we are going into perfection, our brains are going to be working more and more. We're going to have more uh, illuminated and control that we'll have and abilities that we'll have that we don't have now because of our imperfection. Let's just remember that if we are to believe the story of Jesus the Christ, he was a perfect human. He had given up his angelic or his heavenly position to come down to be a human being. So, if we are to look at Jesus Christ, what did he do? He was able to heal people with his hands, and with his spirit, he was able to raise the dead with his own hands. He was able to open up blind eyes just touching a person, or a person touching him, they were able to get healed. Can you imagine that that is probably going to be the greater New Jerusalem? That's what every Black man, woman, and child will be able to do. Even the babies that will be born after this dimensional shift that we are now currently in. Can you imagine that we will be able to go to different persons individually and do the most what Jesus Christ did or what he typified? We'll be able to walk into someone's home. Maybe their person has, recently deceased, and just say, "Oh no, they're only sleeping," and be able to resurrect them right then and there. Can you imagine the power that that will elicit? And because we have demonstrated that we are not selfish, fear mongering, awful people, just in our imperfection, we let everybody into the culture. We're now having to put barriers on it because of how we've been treated for our open arms. We've now had to close our arms for our own protection. But just imagine that our default systems are to share, not to hoard and keep for ourselves. So the dynamic, oh my goodness, I'm just thinking. And then, oh, if it is true that maybe our greater purpose in the beginning in God's kingdom will be to go around, maybe even to repair planets that have gone to ruin because of the war. Like they were saying in Planet Mars, I was having a conversation with someone that Planet Mars seems like it's been destroyed through a battle. What if we are then charged to go and reconstitute Planet Mars or any other? Oh my goodness. The amazingness of what is going to, oh, what we have to live for is going to be awesome. Never a dull moment in our lives. Never a dull moment in our lives. And we won't be the only ones because as we help humanity, then humanity can help other humans and then take the show on the road. That could be let's just dealing with that in itself. That can last 1,000 years on its own. On its own, 1,000 years. So we have so much to look forward to. And I think the Most High wanted me to illuminate that because of the message that was given yesterday about the Lord's great army. So, on the hindsight of destruction is construction. On the hindsight of unaliving is life and birth and being born. And so we have both, and eventually we're just going to have the one. Ah, oh, we have so much to look forward to. Anyway, I better stop now. Thank you for listening.